Good afternoon. Welcome to the Design and Innovation Seminar. I'm pleased to present Professor Irini Pitsaki as our speaker for the seminar. Professor Irini is a senior lecturer at Northumbria University, Newcastle upon Tyne, and she has a very interesting and varied academic background. She started out in her native Greece with a bachelor's degree in graphics design, communication, and technology, from which she moved on to Spain, learned to speak both Spanish and Catalan, and spent a number of years at the University of Barcelona, first obtaining a master's degree in publishing management and going on to an MPhil and also a PhD, which was a combination of marketing and design, focus on design thinking, design management, but also in marketing. And she has taught in a number of universities. In addition to Northumbria, she's taught in Catalonia. She mentioned something interesting yesterday, that her PhD dissertation defense, the viva, was conducted in 3 different languages. And so she's taught in a number of places, including Greece and Spain, and of course in the UK. One other thing she pointed out very proudly about Northumbria is that it claims, the School of Design where she teaches, claims as its alumni both Tim Brown and Johnny Ive. So please join me in welcoming Professor Irini Pitsaki.
Hello. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for being here today, and many thanks to the School of Management for inviting me to visit the campus. This is a great opportunity for me. Thank you very much. The title of my talk is Words, Paths, Design, a journey in multidisciplinary education leadership, and is in essence about my journey in leading a design curriculum linked to business and management. It is also about an emerging approach to design for institutions like yours and for productive synergies between different departments and across schools of business, humanities, and sciences. You may be curious to know why I named my presentation Words, Paths, Design. The inspiration came from Jonathan Ive, from an interview that he gave at the BBC. Just to repeat, Jonathan Ive is Apple's Senior Vice President of Design and is one of the famous graduates of Northumbria University School of Design, my current employer. Other, as Anjani said, are Tim Brown, the world's leading design consultancy, IDEO, also Rob Lowe, Tronke, if you know it, whose designs received over 50 prizes internationally and so on. So I am proud of those professionals keeping in touch with the school, and this photograph was taken specifically last November during Jonathan's visit to the school. And I would like now to show you a video that describes Jonathan's journey and also what is exactly that he said and inspired me.
Sir Jonathan was born and grew up in northeast London. He went to the same high school as David Beckham. After studying industrial design at Northumbria University, he worked for a company that designed tools. He moved to California when he was 25 years old to work as a designer for Apple, and is now the Senior Vice President of Industrial Design. His designs have enabled Apple to sell millions of products worldwide. He also received a knighthood in 2012.
Arise, Sir Johnny.
From the East End to the West Coast, from tools to tablets, the boy done good.
We set a challenge, and the challenge was to design a lunchbox, a school bag and a pencil case all in one. So imagine that was your brief. If you were given that task, how would you have approached it?
If we're thinking of lunchbox, we'd be really careful about not having the word box
already, give you a bunch of ideas that could be quite narrow, because you think of a box as being square and like a cube. And so we're quite careful with the words we use, because those can sort of determine the path that you go down.
Oh, I see. Okay, so words. We are careful with the words we use because those determine the path that we go down. This is what Johnny just said. And what I believe he means is that in order to be innovative and to think outside of the box, we should actually stop thinking that the box exists. And I'd like to add a little bit more to this message by saying that being innovative, it requires much more than maintaining an active research and development department or even effectively developing new products. It requires being aware that in order to produce groundbreaking products, services, and experiences, we might need to change our mindset. Innovation, good design, and creativity derive from experimentation, curiosity, and the need to constantly improve things by constantly changing the way we think about what we do. And in Jonathan's opinion and mine, by choosing the right words to describe it. I'm very sorry I'm going to interrupt your lunch, but because words are so important, I would like to invite you to use the markers and the post-its that I left on your desks to write one or two words which you feel best describe what design means to business today. In other words, what does design mean for organizational success? How does design contribute to value generation, not only for corporations, but for individuals and societies? Why is design relevant? Thus, why should we care? Or why should we teach design in a business school? Just choose one or two words, any of them answering to any of those questions. For example, how does design contribute to value? We could say that design leads to better products, therefore income generation for corporations and better quality of life for people. Then the words would be income, quality of life, and so on. Are we ready? You will only have 1 minute to complete this task. So we're going to start now.
Remind everyone that this session is being videotaped, so when you speak, do the press.
This mic is connected. Yeah.
We all have these microphones here. And for us to be heard, we have to push the button down.
Oh, I see. Fantastic. Yeah, thanks very much for letting me know. I didn't know that. Okay, 1 minute for you. I've seen that some of you were actually looking at the video, which is great. This is the video illustrates the self-siphoning beads effect, which consists in the chain looping up above the rim of the pod before it falls down. So if you are interested to know more about the effect, you can Google Steve Mould is the celebrity scientist in the UK who introduced this effect. And you will also be able to find a Cambridge University-based research team paper that explains how that works. So can I take any of your words? Anyone that would like to tell us what design means to business today? Please.
Sorry, this is a bit general. Strategy creation.
Strategy creation. Excellent. Would you like to explain why you think that's the case?
Sure. I don't think I'm the first to say this, but I think a lot of groups and organizations view strategy as something that's decided or just constructed with logic. But I think aside from the details of logistics of strategy, it's mostly design. It has to be something created.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your input. That's great. More ideas? Please go ahead.
I think design is related to brand identity.
Mm-hmm.
So each company has its own kind of signature brand and signature design. So when you see a certain design, you immediately think about that company.
Branding, excellent. Yes, that's definitely the case. And I think it also matches the way I use the word design today to express all different design domains which need to be coordinated, all of them, in order to project a coherent brand identity. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Please.
Yeah, sure. So I thought of design as innovation and progress, where really good design is an opportunity to reshape how people think about things.
Fantastic. Again, yes, I've commented a little bit before about this. It's great. More words?
I linked design to productivity. So if you look at the product level, you can make it easier to use or better, or even the organizational level. If you have a structure or processes, it can become more efficient.
Excellent. Yes, fantastic. And that matches design management. One of the roles of design management, I'm going to discuss about it. And we had some conversation about optimization yesterday and so on. So thank you very much. That's great. More words?
I wrote access. I just feel like there are a lot of tools out there that you're required to, they have to be designed well so people can use them. So I think of my grandmother and an iPad. Like she couldn't use certain tablets because she couldn't figure it out, but the iPad was designed.
It's so intuitive, isn't it? Yeah, it is fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much, by all means. Anyone else? Aesthetic effectiveness. Fantastic, of course. 2 words. Clarity.
The value proposition to customers.
Value proposition. Excellent. Thank you so much. This is the kind of diversity we get when we discuss design in the context of a design or a business school, and this is really the beauty of design. So having discussed some of your words, I will now introduce mine, and specifically those which determine the path I tend to go down when I develop design curriculum for institutions like yours. And the first word, of course, logically would be design. We just said design is used to reflect many different design domains, such as product design, engineering design, service design, web design, corporate identity design, brand design, and so on. And this is really how I will be using the word today during my talk. But what is design? For all of you, might mean something very different, and I can give examples that even for designers, design means something different. For graphic designers particularly, and for marketers, design is a means of communication. For industrial designers and engineers, design is a process for the development of tangible artifacts or systems. For service designers, design is the actual activity of planning and organizing people, infrastructures, communications, and all sorts of intangible aspects in order to improve interactions between service providers and the customers. But what is design for managers? Or, if you prefer, among the many ideas of what design means, which is the notion of design we should teach in the context of a school of business, for future leaders, and for successful collaboration across different departments and schools, as we said, of business, humanities, and sciences. And I'm going to make a small parenthesis to say that when we think about design, we often think about it as a stand-alone activity, as an activity which takes place in a largely unknown or even uninteresting time, space, and circumstances. So I can tell you that when we think about design this way, we forget two very basic and very important things. First, that the conditions within which the creative process unfolds and every single decision we make during its course will have a direct impact on its outcome. A large amount of those decisions are made by managers who also control the conditions within which design takes place. Thus, managers have direct influence on the quality and the characteristics of the final design. And that's why I like to call them the silent designers. The second element is that design and business don't exist without one another. Professional design takes place in corporations and for corporations. And also, businesses don't exist without design in the sense that they need to design their products, they need to design our working environments, our retail spaces, their websites, their brand identities, as we said before, and so on. Therefore, the notion of design we should teach in a school of business is one which places clearly and explicitly design within the realm of the organization, and must be one which fosters the strong links which naturally, purposefully, and inevitably all design domains maintain with the corporate world. It should also be a notion that assigns managers the responsibility they already have in shaping the design process and the design outcome, and must assist them in making more informed decisions, better decisions, but also in managing creative individuals. So it's not really about managers become the creatives, although this notion of design can also enable them to recognize their creative potential and, of course, to put it at the service of their organizations. The second term, two words I would like to discuss with you, are design management. Design management is an interdisciplinary field which emerged directly out of the need to achieve a more harmonious symbiosis between design and management. It aims to better integrate design into management and vice versa, and elucidates all these elements that those disciplines share in common in order to achieve much better than mutually beneficial results. So design management is about collaboration between project management, strategy, innovation, marketing, and other business domains which are relevant and need or are interrelated to product development, service development, communications, brands, and so on. So in the simplest terms, we can refer to design management as the business side of design. And I would like to show you a video with the more core elements I teach in a course of design management. Please be aware that in the UK, we use the term module instead of course, and we also use the term members of staff instead of faculty.
Hello, my name is Irini Pitsaki and I am the module leader for Design Management 1. Design Management 1 is an MA Design Management specialization module and runs during the first semester of study in this program. This module will provide you with a basic but broad understanding of the discipline. It will help you to answer the question, what is design management? And will assist you in exploring a variety of possible applications of design management in industry. In addition, the module will provide you with design management theory, general design thinking, and pure management principles. Also, it will enable you to understand the relationship between design and innovation, creativity, strategy, and business success, and will help you develop a conception of how designers can inform the front line of decision-making in the business context. In other words, you will be able to assess and justify the value of design for business. You will also gain practical experience on design leadership and project management through working on a live brief, a multidisciplinary team project, or a real case from your own professional practice. This experience will be underpinned by advanced research methods and current achievements in your own field of expertise. Please note that this module is established to suit both students with design and business backgrounds, and it offers a unique opportunity to develop a balanced skill set relevant to both fields. And most importantly, it gives the opportunity to discuss your individual aspirations and reasons for joining the MA Design Management program. And of course, I will help you to shoot your learning journey to those personal goals. Moreover, towards the end of the semester, as part of your assessment, you will be asked to reflect on the management of the design process, the different roles in a multidisciplinary team, and the meaning of effectiveness in specific organizational contexts. You will have to demonstrate critical thinking, strategic approach to the problem, and the ability to think as a professional design manager. You will compose a reflective report linked to the project and the module content, and you will receive feedback useful for your academic performance, your continuous learning, and future professional career. Finally, the module will give you access to successful professionals who will join our sessions as external tutors, will listen to your project ideas, and assist you in their development. These and other reasons constitute Design Management 1 an important module and a very exciting one, which I look forward to sharing with you. Thank you for your interest.
Isn't it great when someone else does it for you? So the following term I would like to discuss is design thinking. And while design management is a discipline, design thinking is no more than a conceptual framework within design management, which facilitates the understanding of very specific roles design can play in a business context. We could say that design thinking is really creative thinking and assists managers to develop creative interest. I'm making reference to your work, really. And this interest can be developed by using creative tools, which are often part of the design process for business decision-making processes. And specifically, I refer to methods like brainstorming, experience prototyping, storytelling, persona scenarios, and visualization techniques like mind mapping, journey mapping, diagrams of values change, and others, which suggest processes which are highly participative. They are dialogue-based, conflict-using rather conflict-avoiding, and they are all aimed at experimentation and learning for organizational success. Finally, a word which is very important in design education is multidisciplinarity. Multidisciplinarity is integral to design. Most designs require the close collaboration of many different specialists for being successful. And actually, we tend to think about Jonathan Ive as the designer of the iPad and the iPhone, but in reality, he is the manager of a multidisciplinary team which develops those projects and products. And as a manager, he is successful because he knows a lot about design. So I would like to conclude this section of my presentation by saying that other terms which are relevant in your context are innovation, systems thinking, user-centered approaches, experience design, branding, and more. Why are words important? Because they determine the path that we go down. And I would like to introduce the path that those words, concepts, lead me in my work in developing courses and leading programs in postgraduate creative education. And I will start by describing a little bit what is my approach to postgraduate creative education, and specifically by asking this question: how does postgraduate education differ from undergraduate education? Undergraduate education is aimed at the basics of the subject, the common language, the basic skills, the theories, and other basic elements of a field. And this is basically about assisting the students to progress from novice to experts, meaning from individuals who have no knowledge or very little knowledge about the subject to individuals who have extensive specialized knowledge. And so we can assume that students, when they arrive at the postgraduate program, they already are experts in their areas. So what do these experts hope to gain by coming to a master's program? As the title of those programs indicates, they seek to become masters of their subjects. And what is mastery? According to Dreyfus' model of skills acquisition, mastery is the conscious attention to performance. In other words, mastery takes place when the expert is able to behave as a reflective practitioner who constantly reviews, questions, challenges, and of course improves his or her performance. In order to assist my students in their journey from experts to become masters, professionals, my courses focus on reflective practice and multidisciplinary project-based teamwork. Multidisciplinary project-based learning allow the students to be supported not only by their multiple tutors, but also by their classmates, experts of their own subjects, and therefore to learn from each other, adopt an open-minded approach to the project, and work independently in teams. This kind of learning gives students the confidence and the ability to ask more open and better defined questions, better define the problem before formulating solutions, meaning adopt a problem definition approach rather than merely a problem solution approach, acquire experiential knowledge, assume different roles in the teams and therefore improve their teamwork skills, and gradually become more aware of their capabilities and potential. Well, I think this approach is quite valuable, and that is confirmed also in a UK Higher Education Academy report that I read, and I would like to quote this specific aspect of it. It says that a new paradigm in higher education is emerging that has creativity at the core and removes barriers between teaching, research, the industry, and the need for employability of graduates. The boundaries between these areas become more permeable, and there is a move towards integration and collaboration. This collaborative culture fosters the continuing professional development of students, but also academic staff, graduates, employees, and employers. So that is basically that when we develop curricula, in addition to employability skills, we should seek the continuing development of students and researchers, but also the industry. So what is new in this approach is not really that education should lead to real-world skills, but rather the suggestion that industries actively need higher education institutions for their development and sustainability. In other words, this approach suggests better integration between teaching, research, and consultancy work. And I would like to illustrate how this is possible to be achieved based on a case from my experience, which I think constitutes an example of academic leadership across those three areas: teaching, research, and industry. Specifically, 1.5 years ago, I designed and led a higher education innovation funding project called Unlocking the Commercial and Communications Potential of Cultural Organizations. A grant was awarded in the category of research commercialization to complete this project because it involved commercializing the expertise of various members of staff, faculty at the School of Design. So what we actually did is this expertise informed the methods, the theme, and the system of work which applied to creative and art-based SMEs would improve and would enhance innovation, commercial effectiveness, and income generation from sources other than the public funds, which is a big issue for cultural organizations.
I'm trying to understand what's the point of departure of this proposal? I mean, is the point of departure a system of practice or education where these things are not integrated, they remain in their own worlds?
Yes, I do.
Talk to each other?
Yes.
And does such a world exist in which they don't talk to each other?
Well, in my experience, yes, such a world exists because we do focus a lot on teaching the students, but not necessarily in bringing our research in the classroom. So quite often what we teach doesn't necessarily match what we do as the most advanced knowledge produced in the sector. And also, not necessarily we connect this expertise and this learning process to real-world scenarios. So that happens quite a lot. But I suppose what this really suggests is that we are looking for a model that will enable not only the students to progress, but also us to have a suitable context where we can apply our research, and the industrial partners to benefit from what this research is, as well as all the fresh minds and innovative approaches the students can bring about in the context of projects like this. So, and what would be new, maybe in this approach, is also the suggestion that this should be an integral part of the curriculum itself. So we're not discussing cases where we do a project and that's it, one-off, but how can we develop a model that allowed constant collaboration with those industrial partners as integral part of our curriculum?
I asked this question because in my own limited exposure to design programs in various universities, interdisciplinarity and interchange with markets and work outside organizations is what I see every place, at least in the ones I have been. And so trying to figure out.
Well, that's good news. I'm pleased that's your experience. That's fantastic. Well, we can see that as a broader model, really, not necessarily just creative education, although the example I illustrate is from my own experience in teaching in a design school. I don't know if that answers the question, or if you would like to make another comment. And that's for everyone. Please feel free to interrupt at any moment with ideas and discussion. That brings a lot of value. Thank you. Right, so we developed the system of work, and then we wanted to apply it in a reality and to test it really in reality. And for that reason, we worked with 10 regional museums and galleries called Tynenway Archives and Museums, which is the major regional museums organization. They receive something 1.5 million visitors a year, and that is just a regional visitor. So in this specific case, we looked at brand equity and fundraising, donations from visitors specifically. So we worked with the marketing employees and the fundraising employees of the museums, and we defined a brief which we delivered to our students. And working closely with the teams of students, we arrived at practical solutions for those museums, which could also, of course, apply to other cultural organizations. So we showcased those solutions in the context of a networking and exhibition event in the Science Museum, the Discovery Museum, and we invited, in addition to those museums, we invited prominent cultural organizations of the region to attend. I could say that this project led to achievement at all three levels, really. I mean, if I go back to the idea of the students, the employees, and us as researchers to get some benefits out of this model, then I could say that the students obviously have been assisted in their development in the sense that they worked in a real world context, and they also got familiarized with advanced research. Those organizations, and feedback that I received, they are going through some changes. We could say that they will have a long-term impact in their performance. And finally, us as researchers, we found a way to apply our research directly to those museums, but also indirectly by using the students as a vehicle for that. So these kind of projects bring multiple benefits, and I would like to comment on one of the characteristics of the project, which was its connection with my work in brand management and experience design. Specifically, I taught my students few of the principles of the cultural product design framework, which I developed, and this is a theoretical framework with practical applications suitable for projects like this. A few words about the framework. The framework is a set, basically, of product development and branding principles, which suggest the way cultural brands and products should be developed. And as cultural products, I refer to exhibitions, learning programs, events, interactive games, and so on. So we want those products to be developed, paying attention to the service-oriented and experiential nature of the cultural industries. Specifically, I taught my students that to brand a product today, it is necessary to take in consideration, in addition to what the product is and does, when the product will be used, how, by whom, under what circumstances, and most importantly, what experiences it will generate, how it will feel to people. So the solutions that we arrived at patently demonstrate an integrative approach to branding and product development. So basically, we said we don't think that branding is something that should take place when the product is developed, but rather much earlier should be an integral part of the product itself, the brand, and therefore branding takes place during the development of the product, if not even earlier than that. So as I said, I believe those projects bring benefits to everyone, really. And few of the solutions are, one was, for example, a lottery installation to be placed in the city center, and that was inspired by the idea that we should take the brand outside of the museum rather than expecting people to go to the museum and meet the brand, if you want. This specific solution involved a lot of engagement with the website of the museum, also participation to future events. There were virtual games and physical games to be played in the venues, and also there were very innovative donation boxes. We've all seen the boxes that we have in the museum. So the boxes that we designed, they don't look at all like boxes, something that Jonathan would love. to see, as per the video that we saw before. So if you can see at the left higher up sign, this is a donation box. It is inspired by the Millennium Bridge of our city. So the bridge is an amazing piece of architecture and engineering. So it swings to allow boats passing by. And the model that we designed swings into action when a lot of coins are dropped inside. We also designed this other box, which uses a technology that allows coins to remain suspended. And when a lot of them pile up, then they fall and can be collected. So this kind of projects provide us with us as researchers now, I'm discussing with a very suitable context to apply our research. And in my case, this project led to the publication of several papers and announcements to conferences. You can see that quite few of them are in business schools, which might be of your interest. And I would like to say that when we work in a project like this, it is important not to foster just one-off collaboration, but really to take the opportunity to develop long-lasting partnerships with those regional stakeholders who also need us, higher education institutions, for their development. They can capitalize on the cutting-edge research that takes place in the university. Based on this work and other works, of course, my university signed a memorandum of agreement with Tyne-and-Wear Archives and Museums, and is now in a partnership of strategic importance for both institutions, but also the entire region. And other partnerships that the School of Design has and are linked to the masters are with Unilever, including a recent investment of few million pounds, really. With Procter & Gamble, we worked on projects about printable electronics and LED technologies and how they can be embedded in their products. We worked with AIDS UK, which is the the official organization for the elderly well-being. The National Health System just completed a project last November about wearable technologies in health, and so on. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Curious in these types of projects, students who don't have formal graphic design, product design, or engineering backgrounds, how do you tend to include them in the process? What sort of contributions do they make?
Yeah. So as you will see, for example, this is a prototype. It is a digital prototype. We didn't arrive to construct the actual box. But from a design perspective, this is not a good prototype, if it's okay to say. So we are not interested in developing perfect prototypes, because what is relevant here is to develop the concept of the product, and also to make sure that this concept corresponds to a viable business idea, because not all good products represent an opportunity for businesses. So it's really the underpinning business understanding and what viability might mean. In this particular context, you see every product is branded, and every product really, it aims brand engagement, long-lasting engagement with the brands of the museums, something which is very relevant in the case of regional museums which are not sustained by tourists. So, but local citizens, that they need compelling reasons to return to the museum over and over again, time and time again. So it's not really about developing perfect prototypes. It's not about, the shape and the visuals of this model being perfect, but really understanding some technical elements. So in our case, we work with an advantage in the sense that in the programs we have both business graduates and creatives. So yes, if we wanted the perfect prototypes, then the creatives would have a more central role to the project, which is not the case really. But in your case, that would mean collaboration, close collaboration with the engineering school, work with the engineering schools and specifically the students that engage with the Center of Innovation and Design in the engineering school. So in the team, you really adopt different roles, yeah? So not each one of you will have the role of making the visuals or making the actual physical construction of I think the value is what is that business students can learn from seeing creatives working, from collaborating with those, but understanding how their minds work and what sort of skills you need for that without necessarily needing to develop the hands-on skills yourselves.
So maybe just to build on that briefly, I'm interested to better understand what type of information is shared and taught through a class like this,
yes.
Either through lectures or some sort of interaction with facilitators and professors versus that group dynamic time where you're actually trying to build and construct and work for a client.
Mm-hmm.
How do you incorporate a sort of more theoretical or academic side of this experience?
Yes. So I will move a little bit forward to show you. Basically, the way we do that is by either creating interdisciplinary courses, so courses that are developed by different tutors that have this expertise that you need, computing and entrepreneurship, okay? Or by merging the programs. So here you see an integrated framework, an integrated structure of the MA Design and MA Design Management programs. So those programs share 6 courses. So the second graph, so that means that both design and design management students will be in those classes, okay? So the second graph shows how the project is core to different courses at the same time, which means that the same project runs through different courses, and the students are encouraged to tackle the brief from the perspectives of those courses, and therefore being supported by their tutors of those courses. And of course, we're talking about just one project with one partner, but one which is seen from different angles. Okay, and just to make a practical comment here, this model allow quite a flexible and very effective approach to faculty resources, because the tutors don't need to be at the class all the time together. They just do it from their own classes, through their own classes. More questions? Okay, so I'll just go back to say and allow me to emphasize that the projects that we run are very different in nature, and this will be my last example. This is a project that I completed just at the close of 2014, literally a few days ago, with Gant, an American heritage luxury clothing brand, which actually was founded here in New Haven in 49 in 2008 was bought by Maus Frères, a Swiss company. So we need.
Irini, I just wanted to say we should
Am I
wrap
running?
up in 5 minutes.
Okay, no problem. No problem at all. So we established contact with the human resources and retail departments in this case, and we looked at the recruitment, induction, training, retention, and brand engagement cycles of the employees. So basically the company was interested to answer questions: how can we improve our recruitment processes? How can we attract the right personnel? Let's review the design and the brand identity of our recruitment platform and question what are the perceptions of the candidates we're in. The induction processes and information packs that they receive and how those can be designed to foster brand engagement. We asked questions like, what is the difference between satisfied employees and engaged employees? And of course, what is the role of design in all this? So I'm finishing by answering a last question. Why design? How can design be seen as a key discipline for achieving meaningful collaborations between different disciplines, programs, schools, and of course, integration across teaching, research, and consultancy work? Design is possibly ideal because it is the only, if you want, creative activity which has embedded at an equal measure business, technology, and art. So design is about understanding users, markets, sales, and other business aspects, and this is the business side of design. And it is also about creating aesthetically pleasing, as we heard before, yes, aesthetically pleasing products that convey a meaning, and this is the artistic side of design. But those products should be functional, make appropriate use of the materials, and also make use of technological advancements. So this is the technological side of design. And design is different than other creative activities like writing and performing, in that it operates within commercial and organizational constraints. So a professional designer doesn't seek self-expression as an artist by large would. A professional designer is successful when his or her designs look well, but also work well, sell well, are competitive, keep production costs down and profits up, and so on. Okay, and I could add to it by saying that the constraints within which design operates are the constraints of the industries themselves. And I'm going to close with this final idea, or if you prefer, my vision. Okay, so if we take advantage of design's business and industrial nature, as well as its multidisciplinarity, and the role multidisciplinarity can play in postgraduate education, as we discussed before, then we can use design as the connector for integration across teaching, research, and the industry, and most importantly, for more meaningful collaborations between the classroom, our research centers, and different departments across the university. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
or two questions, perhaps?